Hi, everyone. Don Welsh with Destinations International. It's a pleasure to be with you today, and it's my pleasure to welcome the Great Lakes Bay Regional CVB Board of Directors, friends of the organization, and also want to thank our friend Annie Rummel. As you know, Annie is so committed to her profession. I know she has a big impact in the community along with her team, but she's also done the same thing for us at Destinations International. Annie served on multiple boards, committees, and has brought her thought leadership and commitment. So Annie, thank you for all that you've done and all that I know you'll continue to do. You know, we at Destinations International have a goal of empowering our members so their destinations excel. And how we basically do that is through four core pillars. Number one, we're fortunate to work in a large community around the world of great CVBs, a lot of thought leadership. We also have a very focused effort on advocacy. And never has probably advocacy been more important, both pre-COVID and post-COVID, but incredibly important in the recovery of our industry. Research is at the foundation of almost everything we do to allow for proper and smart decisions. And we also understand you can never start having enough education and learning. So this is our care philosophy on what we do for our members. We're also fortunate at Destinations International to have this wide universe of members. We have 600 destination members in 13 countries, and this represents about 6,000 professional members who get a chance to interact with one another, and never has the communication been greater and more active in terms of using best practices to help us through this global pandemic. Speaking of the pandemic, I know that we've all dealt with it in our own ways in communities, but the one thing we do know is this global pandemic was the flattener around the world for the industry. We've tested many opportunities before, whether it's natural disasters, acts of terrorism, but this is the one that really brought our industry down to a base level to build from, and we too have done the same. I'm very proud of many of the activities that we've done here, but I'll just name a couple of them. We also pivoted aggressively as our members saw staff reductions, fewer resources, a lot of instability during that first 3 to 6 months. We too did the same. So one of the first things we did, we launched a COVID-19 resource hub, and every day that was being populated by current information that was relevant. We also partnered with a scientific group called ESA. And they were the ones that were behind the GBAC education certification in terms of cleanliness standards. Great scientists leading this effort, and we were happy to work with them. Also, as information was rather fluid and challenges were fluid, we hosted 64 webinars last year with great industry leaders providing information as it was real time. And I know our members valued this information gratefully. We also successfully transitioned what were going to be 6 face-to-face meetings to virtual meetings. And we will talk a little bit about moving into the hybrid environment as we get into the recovery of 21. And we also work very closely with Roger Dow and his team at US Travel as an advocate for the essential PPP funding for CVBs. And I'm pleased to say that did go through. Some of the other accomplishments, we focus very heavily on how our industry talks about what it does. So we released the new pandemic lexicons in countries beyond the United States, including Canada, Australia, and soon to be other countries. We hosted 28 dedicated member engagement sessions. We launched the online learning center platform. And then we also implemented for our CEOs, and I know Annie took advantage of, these were small facilitated discussion groups for CEOs that really allowed them to discuss peer-to-peer issues that were relevant and important to them. And we also launched We're Here to Help campaign that was really intended for the meeting planners to help them in response to where they could take meetings based on the availability, and that is up and running. And I'm so proud of the work that's behind that. And then I'm also very, very proud of the work we continue to do in the area of equity, diversity, and inclusion. And we'll be talking more about that as we get into it. But these are some of the areas that we're heavily focused on. I think, like you, we've also entered into 21 with what we'll say is cautious optimism. I think we all feel very, very good about the global distribution of the vaccine. Needless to say, there have been some bumps in the road, but hopefully in the next couple of months, things will smooth out and our populations around the world will be vaccinated. Some of the more current information has indicated that travelers that were really not keen on traveling are back keen on traveling with the vaccine coming. And this is a very positive sign issued a couple of weeks ago by our friends at Longwoods that 70% of travelers say they'll consider traveling when the vaccine is where they believe it needs to be. We also believe the new administration with President Biden is supportive of tourism, and we will continue to advance those opportunities, which again includes the great PPP support for our industry. For those in the meetings business, we're really thrilled that larger meetings and events are being rebooked, particularly in the second half of the year. And as we've seen, many of those are being booked as hybrid, which will be both in person and a virtual component. And then we also talked about the PPP and the loan forgiveness. Our area in equity, diversity, and inclusion has been accelerated, and certainly some of the events that occurred in 2020 have done that. And I'm pleased to say that right now we have over 250 CEOs around the world who signed a pledge for the inclusion of this work for their various communities, and I know we're building on that. The good news, I know we've got some elected leaders with us today, but it's nice to see that elected leaders and residents now really know what CVBs do for their communities and how they impact their communities, both in the good times and certainly during the challenging times. No doubt CVBs are going to play a critical role in the recovery of destinations in the weeks and months ahead. And it is nice to see that in certain parts of the country and around the world, business is beginning to take place, both from a group as well as leisure. And one small thing is, I think that in maybe the last decade, a leisure traveler, a business traveler, a meeting attendee, somehow when you see the performance we've had for almost over a decade, things get taken for granted. And I honestly think that a traveler will never be taken for granted again in any community that where they travel to. Our strategic goals, again, industry, advocacy, leadership. We've got a great person in Jack Johnson leading this effort for us. The global opportunities continue to build based on a lot of the work that was very US-centric for many years. Our strategic partnerships are growing dramatically, and we've added a few very important strategic partnerships, believe it or not, during the pandemic. And we talked about the importance of next generation professional development, education. That will be ongoing. And then also our work in equity, diversity, and inclusion. We also have a major initiative right now that's called the North America Travel Alliance. And I'm pleased to say this has been about a 3-year project initiated by Chris Thompson at Brand USA. And this really does bring together the leaders of the tourism industries for Canada, Mexico, and the United States, and realizing the significance that each of those countries have in terms of business for one another. Very excited about this to begin moving as many people when it is possible and as safely as possible between those 3 countries. We also have a partnership with Canada that will more than probably double our current members in Canada. And that is a Canadian alliance we're thrilled about. We just announced a new partnership with the NFL that will really be built around the economic impact that sports bring to any community. And we'll most likely be doing that with other professional leagues, not only in the US, but around the world. And as I mentioned to you, our global initiatives. The other one we're very pleased to partner with, we're the newest partner with the US Conference of Mayors. And this allows us as an organization to interface with the over 2,000 mayors in the United States that happen to be members of this alliance. And we've already had the opportunity to speak with them. So we've launched the new PDM. We're doing, by the way, Annie's a big proponent of education. So we've got our in-person sessions again, thank goodness, for CDME. We also have the global expansion of CDME. Which will be very important to take this learning to other parts of the world. We're thrilled that in Japan and Korea and other parts of the world, there's great interest. We also have our industry update webinars. We continue our CEO conversations. We basically focus on education for every department of a CVB. So it's not just for Annie, it's for all members of her team. And we're going to, as I said, we're going to move into that face-to-face. We can't wait to be back together with our colleagues and friends for the opportunities that come along with face-to-face, but we'll also provide the virtual opportunity as well. We also have our destination organization leadership campaign. We also have the advocacy template in place. We have a blog and online community content up and running. We have the new Advocacy podcast in place, led by our very own Jack Johnson. We have the Canadian and global specific development for content, and we're helping our members navigate through how do you access not only PPP and other federal recovery programs, but more or less how do you take advantage for your own community. And then also we will have the 2021 Destination Next future study, which will also be a great template for all members to be able to use as they begin their recovery in 21 and beyond. Our content strategy, it's all about disruption and innovation. And I'm so proud of the industry, how we've done that so far. It's about the community shared value and community alignment that I know works so well in your community. It's about the destination stewardship and sustainability. It's about stakeholder engagement at every level. And it is funding, governance, and organizational structure, which is essential to all of our members around the world. And again, I can't emphasize enough the work we're going to continue to do in the area of equity, diversity, and inclusion at every level of organization. So I know you've got many of these initiatives underway in your great community. I want to again thank you for this opportunity to spend a few minutes with you today. I wish you all the best. Annie, thank you. See you all soon. Take care. Thank you.